Welcome, everyone, to Housecoat Podcasting. I am Takeshi Yamato, joining our host, the Housecoat Gamer.
Yo.
Today, our discussion topic is on the tower defense genre. Jorn is going to be late. He's dealing with his moon-faced assassins of joy. Yes, Ron was one of us who first used that term to describe real world distractions in the form of people distracting. But we've taken to using it quite a bit overall. But anyway, Jorn is dealing with his assassins, so we are going to be so he's going to be late and might not make it at all. Anyway, tower defense. The tower defense genre is one of the more unique ones because you're not directly dealing with whatever enemies pop up. Instead, you have a core, a tower, a core, whatever, and you build various structures to defend it. Mostly turrets of some kind.
That's kind of where the term tower defense comes from. You use towers to defend whatever the hell it is. Sometimes it's, in this case, power cores.
Yep.
Or
sometimes it's power cores, sometimes it's other things entirely.
Shit.
The game Ron is playing right now is Defense Grid: The Awakening.
Which is a bit of a different beast than most tower defenses.
Yeah.
It has been described by its developers as a beer game.
Beer game, huh?
Where you can hold a beer in one hand and play the game with the other.
Right. I suppose that makes sense. And honestly, there is another tower defense game that I have experience with, but it's not one that we'll probably be able to deal with.
Gee, I wonder why.
Well, partly because it's on a console. Specifically, the Nintendo Wii U. That one, I still have my copy of that, even if no one's selling them anymore. Anyway, there's a game called Star Fox Guard. It was made and released at about the same time as Star Fox Zero, which was basically this classic, a remake of Star Fox 64. And it sort of tied into the same kind of plot line, but in a different way. You were dealing with with Star Fox Guard. You were basically dealing with the heavy metal industry and the arms race, and
I don't like losing my cores.
Yeah, but yeah, it was interesting. Star Fox Zero was a unique game because you had a total of 12 turrets. The course was already, you had a bunch of mazes, and basically these robots were trying to get to the cores of your mining bases. And if they got to the core got destroyed and it was game over.
I believe a familiar tower defense title would be South Park, the video game.
Right.
Where the boys of South Park are trying to defend it from the myriad of things that they've had to deal with over the years.
Yeah. But yeah, Star Fox Guard was interesting because you had, like I said, you had a bunch of you had a bunch of robots trying to get to the core of your mining base, and you had 12 turrets and could switch between, and you controlled them directly, and you could switch between them just by tapping on the touchpad. It was interesting, and sometimes you had big boss enemies to deal with. Okay. And, but yeah, any genre can have a tower defense game.
Sometimes it's even in reverse.
A tower defense game spawning a franchise?
No.
Oh,
where
you're the
you
one
are the attacker.
Ah.
The most famous example is Dead Space Ignition. Where you play as a software hacker during the Necromorph outbreak on the Sprawl, and the cyber defenses take the place of, well, tower defense.
Yeah. Alright. But yeah, it's...
You're just discussing one tower defense game, and I'm waiting for you to move on.
Ah, yeah. Like I said, any genre can have a tower defense game. I mean, I don't know if... Like I said, Star Fox Guard was my main one, but... You could have any genre could have one. You just have to design it and give it an appropriate plot.
Franchise.
Yeah. But any franchise could have a tower defense game. You just have to come up with an appropriate plot and make sure it works.
I'm pretty sure it wouldn't work for Alien.
Yeah. But you could...
I'm way too used to using Super Grinder.
Yeah. You could do a...
I play this often when I'm very bored.
But I mean... Gundam. You could possibly do a Gundam tower defense game. The main question is how that would work out. Or even a Star Trek tower defense game. I wouldn't be surprised.
No. Please, no.
Like I said, any genre can have a tower defense game. You just have to figure out how it works in terms of plot.
Alright, turret types. I've obviously not been using the universal gun type, which... weakest. Weakest damage ratio... There's always one of those.
Yeah.
In Defense Grid, they fire at ground and air targets. You're not going to see them in this one because... well, they only show up in mainline story modes, and... If you've watched my channel at all, you know that I have a run of defense grid.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. Standard gun type, basically the weakest of the things. Then
The very
there's
specialized flamethrower type, designed
yeah,
to deal a cone of damage to light enemies.
yeah,
A Tesla sort of tower, which
yeah,
damage, which charge up, murder, that sort of thing.
yeah, and
An
he's
area of
got
effect tower,
yeah, like that with the explosives.
concussion towers,
Yeah,
cluster munitions, basically bomblets from hell.
yeah. Oh, another game that I haven't played directly, but I've seen sometimes, is a game called Rogue Tower. It's a tower defense game where you can build and place towers, but it's also something of a roguelike.
Oh god.
Basically, you start with just the basic square around your tower, and you can place a couple of basic ballista towers. It's sort of a medieval fantasy type setting kind of thing. But then the waves appear when you when you expand the map. Expanding the map gives you access to more space to put turrets in, and means the enemies have a longer distance to get to you.
Shit. I did not mean to do that. That's the only appearance you're going to see of the flame tower. I don't find it particularly useful.
Right.
Especially once you get your hands on the very, very useful and omnidirectional concussion tower.
Yeah.
Here, this thing doesn't have to move. You just have one little cone of death. Well, radius of death instead of one 45-degree cone, which, frankly, is useless.
Yeah.
As stated, this game can be played one-handed. I was going to demonstrate the use of laser towers. In some games, they're piercing weapons. Here, they're damage over time.
Yeah.
Now, I'd show off the South Park game if I could. That's more of a typical example. This is not a typical example.
Right. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, that's typically that's the typical strategy you use. Keep that thing occupied by a significant amount of murder machines.
Yeah.
As for enemy types, these are obviously the heavies.
Yeah.
And here come the runners. Defense Grid also has this.
Giant laser of death. Temporal tower. Slow down.
Yeah, there's always one of these.
Yeah.
As you might guess, I use these for maximizing the amount of damage I can do in one place.
Yeah.
Always strategically placed to keep an enemy in place and to make sure they die. Preferably on fire.
Yeah.
Because again, that's what laser towers do. Typically, towers always have 3 levels of murder.
Yeah. In defense... Yeah. In Defense Grid, you can level up your towers. They start at green, then upgrade to yellow, and then finally to red. Red is maximum effect.
Red is currently murder.
Yeah.
I'm going to need that in a few minutes.
Yeah.
As for enemy types, there are, well, small swarms of cannon fodder. Larger, less numerous, but still cannon fodder.
Then you get armored targets, targets with special effects,
shielded.
Yeah.
Now you might be wondering, what the hell is he doing? That turret's useless. You were saying something?
Let's clean this place up.
I'm thinking ahead, because tower defense games demand pathfinding.
Yeah. Like I said, Star Fox Guard is probably one of the exceptions in that it just has fixed paths, and you just have to place your towers, and you have to place your tower strategically, and then choose which one you control on the fly. Star Fox Guard is part Star Fox, so you're shooting, and so you've got a bunch of stuff to shoot. And so with Star Fox Guard, you're manually controlling the turrets and shooting at targets. But yeah. Anyway.
It's gonna take a bit.
Yeah. But yeah, and like I said, with Star Fox Guard, you basically had 2 different attack types. You had ones that just went straight for your core, and you had ones that would disrupt you in various ways. From just doing an EMP effect on a turret to literally tearing it off the wall. It's they had some interesting enemies, and like I said, the maze paths were pre-selected, so yeah. Also, some games, especially with Nintendo systems, some games will have support for other features. Like Star Fox Guard had the ability to interface with their with Nintendo's collectible figures known as Amiibo.
I think everyone knows about those by this point.
Yeah. Specifically, if you had if you have a Fox or a Falco amiibo, you could scan one of those onto the Wii U control pad and basically get a one-off call, a one-off opportunity per map to call in the Star Fox team. That's basically a map clear. Akin to the Defense Grid laser, except the entire map, not just an area.
Get our calls back. We need to eliminate that. Take those things out.
Okay.
We're low on power.
Yeah. It can be fun watching these things go boom.
Quickly. Let's eliminate them and retrieve our core.
Next wave inbound.
Regain the core.
Okay. It directs them out that way.
Heads up. They've taken a core. Watch our power level. It's extremely low.
So this is more like the standard tower defense style where you're placing turrets to build a maze.
Take aim carefully.
Aside from its ability to be played one-handed.
I'm sorry, people used to shut up.
Right. But yeah, so this game is more the standard tower defense style.
To a
They-
point.
Yeah. The ability to place turrets wherever you want and block your opponent's progress.
We can succeed here if we maintain focus. Watch our power level. It's extremely low. All lasers hot and ready. Fire at will. Let's clean this place up.
It's very easy to have the perfect setup, but screw up its implementation.
Yeah.
As an example, I could set up every single turret that I will ever set up in this map,
Watch our power level. It's extremely low.
but they won't be good enough to deal with all the enemies.
Yeah.
Thankfully, there's a rewind feature, so I can correct that oversight.
Yeah.
A core regained. We'll take it.
Not too much we can talk about. Not too much more to talk about.
Mostly because I haven't been deploying some of the specialized turrets.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. If I do, I'll screw up the placement.
Yeah.
I
Well,
could just jump cut ahead.
maybe another thing, something we could talk about. Like I said, a tower defense game could be in just about any franchise. We could discuss preferred slash ideal games, franchises that we think would have good tower defense potential, and how we would imagine a game in that franchise working.
Trek is not one of them.
Okay. Oh, enemies with shields are coming.
Fortunately, they're being delayed.
Yeah. Star Wars has some decent tower defense potential.
Quickly, let's eliminate them and retrieve our core.
At least I think.
It has about as much potential as the Empire actually shooting Luke down with turbo lasers. It would become a joke, and we all know how I feel about that sort of thing.
Right.
We got one of our cores back.
It ceased to be funny a long time ago.
Yeah.
Our power is running dangerously low.
I severely doubt a series like Predator would fit even remotely well.
Yeah.
That's more
Massive.
That's more about stealth than anything.
Yeah.
Mass Effect would not work.
Well, I mean, you could set up the premise decently. Just have a facility that Reaper forces or Geth forces or Cerberus forces or whatever are trying to get to, and setting up defenses to deal with them.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the amount of cyber warfare horse crap that goes on there. Oh, there goes all your turrets, because they're now being turned against you.
Fair enough.
It has to work, and
yeah. Oh, I haven't played any of them directly, but StarCraft 2 has at least a couple tower defense games in its arcade mode,
which would not reflect at all the series itself.
Yeah.
Let us be perfectly blunt and clear about this. These things can go through pretty much anything.
Yeah.
So there's not much of a point to even trying to adapt tower defense to StarCraft. Halo, perhaps.
That could definitely work. I mean, Halo Wars could easily be adapted to something like that. Just remove all the units, and basically you just have to build static defenses to keep Covenant, Flood, and whatever from getting to your base.
Insurrectionists. Of course, there would still be quite a few issues.
Yeah.
What would be the logical point if you're being forced to stick around instead of actively murdering the bastards?
Yeah.
careful.
Oops. Now we move on to my favorite type of tower. The Tesla. Charge out,
Hi.
devastating attack.
Uh,
At max level, these things can chew through shields like a Gibble does through, well, metallic
anything
ores.
metal.
Our power. We're running low.
Because he's Gibble.
Yeah. And his diet is metal. Which means he needs to be good at chewing through it.
Just like these towers are good at chewing through shields.
Yeah. Speaking of, some shielded enemies are coming up.
Now these bastards are usually weak to cannon shells, somewhat of an inversion. In a number of tower defense games, well, they were immune to everything.
Yeah.
But a specific tower here, they're only really weak to, well, kinetic energy weapons.
Ah.
Bullets, guns, cannons.
Yeah.
It appears we're finally about to get the most powerful aliens of the lot, at least the ones that you can face here.
We've got them zeroed in now.
Oh boy.
Now, if those things actually fired guns, you know, with those huge cannon-esque things, I'd be a little more impressed.
Yeah.
They do not. They just walk. And have a lot of health, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
However, the damn things are bullet sponges and require the entire grid to kill. That, or a very strategically placed orbital laser strike.
Yeah. Death from above.
Shields heading our way. The core has been returned.
Yeah. Different, but yeah. Let's see. Up. There we go.
Like hell that's happening if I have any sanit.
Yeah.
Find the cores. They're making off with them.
Let's see.
There are stealth aliens in this.
Ah.
Watch our power level. It's extremely low.
Gundam tower defense game might be interesting.
And pointless.
Yeah,
Remember, as unrealistic as Gundam can be, and it can really be unrealistic, it is at least all about three-dimensional movement.
yeah,
Not walking down a goddamn maze, waiting to be gunned down by some rube.
yeah, fair enough.
As much as I hate certain games, including Dynasty Warriors, Christ, spare me. At least that included some three-dimensional movement.
Yeah.
And there we go. I can finally take out all of the Seekers, which are spawner aliens. I would not say that a bug zapper would be appropriate for that.
Right. Yeah, zap.
More like Wilhelm scream. It calls for a Wilhelm scream.
Yeah.
Some soldiers who got blew up in the last crusade. Ow! It calls for a Wilhelm scream.
Yeah.
Now if I could play that little tune here, that would be fun. However, I think we've pretty much gone through every single alien. So we may as well just... yeah.
May as well just go full bore on towers.
After all, the entire point of this was not, hey, let's show off him going through everything perfectly. No, this was just tower defense in general.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Here's the gun. It goes twin barrel here.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's tower defense genre in general. Sometimes it changes up, sometimes it does not.
Yeah.
But it all revolves around putting down towers and shooting at people with towers.
And keeping them from getting to whatever you are trying to defend.
Let it be it power cores, a computer core, a mine, South Park. Yeah, I don't think Zorn's actually going to be showing up tonight. Disappointing, if expected.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a sad gibble, but it's understandable.
Yeah.
Bye.